Good morning, everyone, and welcome along to the final session in our VAT Proficiency webinar series. Today is all about the quiz, having a little bit of fun, testing your knowledge, seeing if you've taken it in, or maybe identifying your knowledge gaps, and do you need to revisit maybe some of those sessions? So hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun and you'll enjoy it today. Session should last in the region of about 60 minutes. Just myself running the session with you today. Worked really well yesterday when we ran it first, the first time where we ran it just one person. So we'll see how it goes again today. Right, as normal, you don't need a microphone. If you've got one, it will be muted. Can't unmute yourself. So any questions or comments you do have along the way, pop them into the questions panel. We tend not to get many on this session. I'll try and pick them up at the end if we've got time, or react to them there and then. But I'll try and get you involved with that questions panel towards the end as well. Now, this webinar is being recorded as normal. A link to the recording will be included on your follow-up email. You'll get that round about an hour after we finish, just as normal. It'll include the links that you need to register for our upcoming webinars. We've got another couple of webinar digital badge series that we've got in the pipeline. We haven't advertised them just yet, but they will be available to get yourself booked onto by the end of next week. So August and September, we'll be looking at data management. And then in September and October, we're going to be looking at the report designer. So watch out for those being advertised. Barry, you're sort of hands up already saying you haven't any knowledge. We'll see. We'll see how you get on today. So just a case of keeping your score. Right, so these are the sessions we have been running. So remember, to earn that digital badge, you must have attended 5 of the 7 VAT Proficiency topics, either in July or June or a combination of the two, and also one of the quiz sessions. So hopefully it's just the final piece of the jigsaw today for you to earn that badge. The badges should be issued by the end of next week. So watch your mailbox. I can't remember off the top of my head the email address that they come from, but that will be issued, as I say, by the end of next week. Right, okay, so what are we doing today? Well, we're covering, and we've got a number of rounds planned in question-wise for the quiz based around what we've covered so far in the session, in the individual topics. So tax codes, we're going to look at the VAT return. So probably the biggest round because we had 2 webinars dedicated to that. We'll touch on the VAT verification settings, the running of reports, corrections, and then we've got one fun final round at the end. So we'll get you, see how good you are at quizzing at the end, solving problems. And then right at the end, just remind you of the additional support that's available. If there are any outstanding questions, I'll try and pick those up as well. But do bear with me, just as I say, just myself running the session today. I'll probably be all over the place trying to forget to click buttons, etc. So to take part and give it a go, that's the aim of today. Give it a go, have a bit of fun, test your knowledge. So see what you've learned. There are the multiple rounds. What we've done for each of the questions, just to save you scrolling down loads of notes, we just done A, B, C, etc. for the answers. Nice and easy for you to keep a track then. We will be using the poll facility, so you'll get a question or a screen pop up similar to what you can see on screen. So that's a one Matt designed. just a sort of self-fulfillment, I think. So it'll be similar to that, just in case of you choosing an answer or answers, and then remember to click submit. Now, we're not tracking the answers. I'll show you what people have chosen. So I'll share the results, and then I'll give you the answers at the end of each round. But keep a track of your score, and I'll ask about that at the end, see how you've got on. So good luck, enjoy it, and we'll get stuck straight in with round 1, which is tax codes. So for our first question, where can you view and amend your tax codes? Is it A, settings and company preferences, Is it B, settings configuration, or is it C, settings control accounts? So where can you see those tax codes, and if necessary, amend them? So choose your answer. Remember to click submit. And again, I'm not going to give you too long to pop your answers in, because obviously it's we've got about 20 questions which we're going to go through. Because of the logistics of putting the polls on screen and sharing the answers and maybe running through the odd demo here and there, sometimes it would be a little bit pushed for time. Right, okay, loads of you have answered that one, so great. I'll close that, I'll share the results with you. And what we've got there, so 19% of you have voted for settings company preferences. 81%, so the majority of you gone for settings configuration, and no one's gone for settings control accounts. So answers will be revealed in just a few minutes. Right, question 2. I kept forgetting to display the questions yesterday, so we'll see how we get on. So question 2, what is the default tax code for non-VATable transactions? So if you don't want a transaction to be included on your VAT return, you need to use that non-VATable tax code. So what is it? Is it A, T0? Is it B, T2? Or C, T9? Excellent. Loads of you chose submitted your answers for that one. So just again, quickly share them with you. So 100% of you went for T9. So we're either all right or all wrong. Answers in just a moment. And then finally, relating to the tax code session, so hopefully you're paying attention, where can you configure the F11 and F12 function keys? Where in your software can you do that? Is it A, settings company preferences, B, settings configuration, or is it C, tools and options? So this is the one where we demonstrated how to do this. And remember, your function keys all have a use within your software. The one we demonstrated in that tax code session was essentially entering a web link, so a web page. And in this case, we use the tax code finder article, so that when you're working in your software, if you're not sure about tax code to use for a particular transaction, you can just then press F12. It automatically launches the web page, so taking you into the help center to display that information. You can follow the guide through then to determine how you should enter that transaction. Brilliant, loads of you getting involved, so that's great. So again, I'll close that, share the results with you. So 10% of you gone for settings company preferences, 19% going for settings and configuration, and 71% of you going for tools and options. Right, so let's have a look at some of those answers. Remember, keep your own score. We can't track that. The webinar software itself doesn't have the facility built in to track that, or not live anyway. So do track your own score as we go through. So answer to question 1, where can you view and amend your tax codes? It is B, settings and configuration. So give yourself a point if you got that one. Question 2, what's the default tax code for non-VATable transaction? Answer is C, T9. So this is in the tax code session, this is when I talked about the difference between T2 sorry, T0, T2, T9. Some people use them interchangeably. So the likes of probably the most common one I see is when people enter bank charges. They'll enter that with T9 thinking, well, there's no VAT on that. Yeah, there's no VAT on it, but in the UK, bank charges are classed as being exempt of VAT. So you should be entering those with T2 so that they still get declared on your VAT return, but they don't impact on the VAT liability itself. And if you need to check your non-VATable tax code, if I just quickly share my screen. So you can, first of all, you can go into settings configuration and you can see which one is actually called. If you go into tax codes at the top there, you can actually see T9 on my list and it says non-VATable. However, if I go into settings and company preferences, it should ask me for my password at that stage. And on the VAT tab, you'll have here the non-VATable tax code. You can see what that's set to. Now, by default, everyone should have that set to T9. It should say 0. If it's anything other than T9, it means at some point someone's gone in and changed that. So this is the tax code that would be picked up, for instance, if you're entering a journal, for instance. It would pick this up by default. The vast majority of journals would be classed as being non-VATable. Right, back to the slides, and we'll pick up on the answer for question 3. So question 3, where can you configure the F11 and F12 function keys? And it's C, tools and options. Now, if you need advice on that and you're thinking, oh, actually, I'll give that a go. Maybe you saw it in the demo or maybe you watched the recording. If you want advice on sort of copying code in there or linking it to a web page, whether that's one of our help center articles or maybe just like a HMRC page or a revenue page that you refer to quite regularly, then just search our help center, just search for F12 and it will guide you through that process. It'll show you the code that you need to paste into that field. So you go into tools, options, into the environment tab, you've got the F11, F12 boxes at the top. You can replace the code that's there with the code that's on the Help Center article itself. Right, round 2, the VAT return itself. So I think we've got 6 questions in this round. So let's start with question 4. Question 4 is, what's the first task you should complete in the VAT return wizard? So when you access that, you're on the first tab. What's the first task you should complete? Is it A, take a backup, B, enter your VAT period, so you start month, end month for your VAT period, or is it C, check your VAT verification settings? So when Matt ran you through this, what did he tell you about? Probably knowing Matt, probably about 10 times. Get on his soapbox and say, right, this is your first task. Excellent. I'll share the results with you. So 96% of you going for A, take a backup, 4% of you choosing option B, enter your VAT period, and no one choosing the VAT verification settings. Again, all will be revealed very soon. Question 5. Can you manually undo a VAT return once it has been reconciled? So can you manually undo that? Can you make adjustments within your software, for instance? Can you edit those transactions? So can you manually undo a VAT return once it has been reconciled? Yes or no? I'll pop that question on the screen, that might help as well. This is what I got caught out a little bit with yesterday. There's that many buttons when we run these quizzes. We're switching between screens and slides and the polls. There's a few options for the polls as well. So again, let me know So can you manually undo a VAT return once it has been reconciled? Yes or no? Always get a divide on this one as well. Excellent. Loads of you answered that one. Share the results. So we got 29% of you going for yes, you can manually undo a VAT return, and 71% of you going for option B, no. Right, we'll find out shortly. On to question 6. So question 6 is, once you've calculated your VAT return, can you alter the transactions that affect it? So be careful with when you're reading that there. It's once you've calculated your VAT return, can you alter the transactions that affect it? Yes or no? Answers coming through thick and fast there. Excellent. If anyone's using the software in the background at the same time to check as we go, do be careful. It's particularly if you're working in the VAT return area. Don't generate a VAT return and then reconcile it. I might be giving away one of the answers there, but not to do that. Right, excellent. So I'll share the results again. So majority of you going for yes, you can, and a small minority there going for option B, no. On to question 7. When posting the VAT transfer, which two nominal codes is the reconciled VAT transferred from? So this was on step 3 of the VAT return, the option in the top corner, the VAT transfer. So when posting that, it does a journal. So which two nominal codes is the reconciled VAT transferred from? Is it A, the sales and purchase tax control accounts, B, the sales tax control account and VAT liability, or is it C, the purchase tax control account and VAT liability? Great, answer again, answers coming through quite quickly there. Brilliant. So we're getting about 80% of you voting for the answers. So brilliant, we just hit that mark. So I'll just close that one. Again, share the results with you. So again, the vast majority of you going for option A, which is the sales and purchase tax control accounts. And again, a smaller number going for option B and nobody going for option C at all. Moving on to question 8. We always get a bit of a discussion about this on the session as well. What does it mean if a VAT return status shows as pending? So on that VAT return screen where you've got your reconciled VAT, so the VAT return is listed, in the status column, it might say, it should say pending. So what does it mean? You haven't made your payment yet, the VAT return hasn't been submitted yet, or the VAT return has been calculated but not reconciled. What does it mean? So get your answers submitted. Great. So again, we've got about 80% of you having voted there. Quickly share the results with you again. So we've got 9% of you going for option A. So pending means you haven't made your payment yet. 74% of you going for option B, the VAT return hasn't been submitted. And 17% of you going for option C, the VAT return has been calculated but not reconciled. Right, one more question in this round, and then we'll run through some answers. So final question in this round. Question 9, you can manually mark a VAT return as submitted. Is that true or false? So can you literally open the VAT return and say, right, actually this has been submitted? Great, loads of you answering. Right, we'll close that poll down, share the results with you. So 80% going for yes, true, you can. And 20% say false, so you're saying that you can't. Right, let's run through some answers and maybe some little bit of show and tell on the software as well. Right, so question 4, what's the first task you should complete in the VAT return wizard? Now, although you can actually complete any of these, it's something that, again, as I say, Matt would have jumped up and down about. We can't emphasize this one enough. Take a backup. Even if you're just going in to check your figures. I've seen it many, many times where people have done that. They've gone into the VAT return, they've entered the VAT period, they've gone to calculate, they get on to step 2, and then they think, I'll click reconcile. It's just out of habit that they do that. You need that backup. Take that backup before you do anything else. That's why it's the first option in the wizard. So take a backup. Question 5, can you manually undo a VAT return once it has been reconciled? Always a bit of a divide on this one, the way people have interpreted this question, but the simple answer is no, you can't. So you can't manually amend transactions to essentially undo that VAT return. We had someone on the quiz yesterday who was adamant that you could. You can't. The only way you can undo that is by restoring a backup. So in step 1, take that backup. If you do reconcile and you spot a mistake, you can then undo that by restoring. But that's the only way you can do it. You can't manually undo that VAT return. You can undo a bank reconciliation. There is an option to delete the reconciliation, or you can manually unflag the transactions, but not for the VAT return itself. Potentially you could do it even for the year end as well. It's potentially you could do it, but much easier if you are in those positions to be able to restore. We just confirm that you can see question 5 on your screens. So we just had a comment there. I think someone's maybe just paused for someone. So if you can't see question 5 on the slides at the moment, just let me know. So I'll just pop a quick comment in the. Actually, I'll just reshare my screen as well. That might do it. I just need refreshing. It's displaying it at my end all right, but sometimes the software can get a little bit stuck here and there. Right. Okay, that's fine. Spot on. So question 5, answer is no. Answer to question 6. Once you've calculated your VAT return, can you alter the transactions that affect it? The answer to that one's yes. So don't get confused. The key word there in the question is calculated, not reconciled. once you've calculated your VAT return. So can you alter the transactions that affect it? So almost like a trick in the question there. But if I just quickly show you that, just show you what we mean, I'll quickly share my screen. Go into the VAT return. So we'll bring up a blank VAT return. I'll just specify the VAT period for this dummy data we've got. So we've got calculate at the bottom here, bottom of step 1. Obviously, as I say, when you're doing it, always back up first. So calculate VAT return. It's then going to take you to, if I just include those late entries, it's going to take you on to step 2 where you've got the calculated figures, and if you do spot any mistakes when you're investigating that or you're looking at the verification results, you can always close out of that VAT return. So yes, I want to close out of that. I can go and make any adjustments I want. It's reconciliation is the key. That's almost when it's cast in stone. So answer to question 6 is A, yes. Question 7, when posting the VAT transfer, which 2 nominal codes is the can't speak this morning, which 2 nominal codes is the reconciled VAT transferred from? Answer A, the sales and purchase tax control accounts. So B and C are very similar, and to a certain extent, depending on your VAT scheme, it could just be, I'd say potentially could be B if you're on a flat rate scheme, because you tend not on flat rate, you tend not to declare any purchase tax. But the answer is A, sales and purchase tax control accounts. So it'll essentially post a series of journals for the value that's been reconciled. It'll do a journal to essentially move that value out of those control accounts across to the VAT liability. So you're transferring it from those 2 control accounts. Question 8, what does it mean if a VAT return's status shows as pending? Now, if you were paying attention in the, I think it's part 2 of the VAT return session we were running, then you would have got this one. It's the VAT return hasn't been submitted. Don't get confused with the payment itself. So there's a couple of options on there, but if I just quickly show you this one as well, just to confirm what we're talking about. So I'm on the VAT return screen here. If I actually go into this one, and what I'll do is I'll just take the tick out of this little box. And we're talking about when a VAT return in the status column, it has that status of pending. Now, a lot of people get hung up on this, particularly for old VAT returns, so returns from a number of years ago. So if it shows as submitted, it means one of 2 things. One is that you've gone into and actually submitted your VAT return online. So if you're UK based under MTD, you've got to submit online. So as long as you're just doing a single company submission, when you submit online directly from your software, that pending will then change to a submitted. If you're doing a group VAT submission, a little bit different. You need to manually come in and flag it. And also if you're in Ireland as well, what you'll need to do is once you've made your submission, which you can't do directly from the software. So in Ireland, obviously it'll generate an XML file that you can upload to the revenue. And what you'll do is afterwards is you'll just come into the VAT return, tick this little box to say, right, I've actually submitted that now. If you've got loads of old VAT returns, if you want them to say submitted, you can. Just a case of opening it, ticking the box, and then when you close out, that will say submitted. But please don't get hung up on that for your old returns if they say pending. It just means that you've done it manually. Right, going back to the slides, answer to question 9. You can mark, say that one again, you can manually mark a VAT return as submitted. So the answer to that one, which we've just seen there, is true.
So they go hand in hand. Possibly a little advantage if you are based in Ireland with those last two questions. You'd be probably a bit more aware of them. Right, so hopefully you're doing quite well so far. Going off the answers that are being submitted, I think everyone is. So round 3 is based around the top 5 questions session that we ran. So let's start with question 10. So question 10, where can you see which tax codes belong to the VAT boxes in your VAT return? Is it A, use the drill down in the VAT box? Is it B, settings, configuration, tax codes? Is it C, help and about? Or option D, settings, company preferences? Barry, you mentioned you got 9 out of 9 so far. Well done. Hopefully everyone else is doing really well as well. And Barry, hopefully you've surprised yourself. You thought you didn't have any knowledge, but there you go. You've taken in a lot more than you maybe thought. You've been absorbing it without even realizing it. So where can you, just come back to the question 10, where can you see which tax codes belong to the VAT boxes in your VAT return? Excellent, loads of you having answered that as well. Brilliant. Share the results with you. So 84% of you going for option A, use the drill down in the VAT return. 16% of you going for settings, configuration, tax codes, and nobody going for option C or D. We'll find out in a few minutes. Question 11. Can you post a journal to appear on your VAT return? So, yes or no? So we half touched on this a little bit earlier. It's when I keep thinking, oh yeah, I shouldn't have said that. I've sort of given that away a little bit. So can you post a journal to appear on your VAT return? Just a simple yes or no. Great. Loads of answers flooding through again. Share the results with you again. So most of you going for A, option yes, 91% of you saying that, and the other 9% of you going for option B, no. You can't post a journal to appear when you VAT return. Right, question 12. Now you can select all that apply this time. So it's more, you can choose more than one answer. We're going to say you get a point for each one that is correct that you choose. But be honest, don't just choose all 4 and say, well, yeah, I'll get a point for each one. Let's say you deduct a point if you get one wrong. So question 12, why might your figures not match the control account balances? So if you run your VAT return, you're looking at the figures on there. So let's say the figures in box 1. Why would that figure not match the control account balance? So when you're looking in nominal codes, you see the control account balances. So 2200, 2201 for your 2 control accounts. Why that? What might cause them to be different? So is it option A, it should always match? Is it B, is it future dated transactions? Is it C, your VAT scheme? Is it D, non-vatable journals are posted to the control accounts?
Is it all 4? Is it 3 of them, just 2 of them, or just 1? Great, loads of you getting stuck into that one. So 9% of you have selected option A. They should always match. Everyone that answered there has chosen option B, future dated transactions. Half of, or just over half of you have gone for option C, VAT scheme. And 87% of you going for option D, non-VATable journals are posted to the control accounts. Right, let's have a look at some answers. Make sure I've got the right screen shared. We do. Right, so question 10. Where can you see which tax codes belong to the VAT boxes in your VAT return? Easiest way to get at that information is to drill down in the VAT return. So just for those of you that didn't choose that option, I'll quickly show you what we mean by that one. If I go into generate a VAT return, let's just do that period again. So again, this is something that we when we get these types of queries. So why isn't this transaction picked up on a certain box of the VAT return? You can drill down. So the figures that have an icon attached to them, this is a UK return, but if you're based in Ireland, again, you'll have these similar sort of icons attached to the relevant boxes. So if you click it, generates a table for the relevant box that you've clicked on, and it'll be broken down between transaction types and tax codes. So you can easily see which tax codes would impact on this particular box. So if you enter let's say a receipt, for instance, that is, let's just say T5, then you can see potentially that will be pulled through to box 1. So that's the easiest way. Remember, you can scroll down as well. There's some others, not enough space these days. If you're based in Ireland, obviously you have it quite a little bit more difficult because you've got about 50 tax codes which are active, and they're all very, very similar. So use that drill down. A great feature, that one. So answer to that one was option A, use the drill down in the VAT return. Answer to question 11, can you post a journal to appear on your VAT return? The vast majority of you did go for option A, yes, and that's the right answer. So the majority of journals that you will post will pick up your non-VATable tax code. There will be occasions where you maybe need to post a journal, and I think the example that we choose or usually use in the demonstration is something like the purchase of a fixed asset or the sale of a fixed asset. Now you can enter that type of transaction in a number of different ways, but because you're going to be posting a journal, some people like to include the actual sale of the asset itself in amongst that journal. So if you needed the transaction, so the net value and the VAT part of the actual sale, so that element of the journal, if you need that to be included on the VAT return, you just need to make sure those elements of the journal use a VATable tax code. So you normally put that through with a T1 tax code. So answer to question 11 is yes, you can. Question 12, why might your figures not match the control account balances? So this was a multiple answer question, this one. Now it's very, very rare that your balances will actually match. And there are a number of reasons for that. Future data transactions. So you run your VAT return, you think, well, I've reconciled up to date, but if you've entered any transactions beyond the VAT period, probably in the vast majority of cases, you will have done that by the time you come to run that VAT return. So if you've done that, those transactions, those values will be reflected in the control account balance. Your VAT scheme. So if you're on cash accounting, for instance, when you enter it, if you've got any outstanding transactions, the VAT element will remain on those control accounts. Again, meaning that they might not match. And also D, non-VATable journals. So you've maybe entered some journals at some point. Now, there will be reasons that you post non-VATable journals, but again, they can cause discrepancies, meaning that the likes of your VAT return doesn't match the control account balances. So if you did choose those B, C, D, give yourself a point for each one. So the only one that wasn't right there is they should always match. Right, let's get back to some more questions and we'll look at the VAT. Got a few questions on the VAT verification settings. So question 13, VAT verification settings. Do they indicate something is wrong with your data? Do they indicate a potential issue and needs reviewed? Or are they for HMRC to verify your VAT return submission? I think it's Abby that takes you through this particular session. So what's the point of those VAT verification settings other than just to boost your confidence in your VAT return and try to spot queries before you reconcile or submit your VAT return? So is it A, indicate something is wrong with your data? Is it B, indicate a potential issue needs to be reviewed? Or is it C, for HMRC to verify your VAT return submission? All right, let me share the results with you on that one. So 4% of you going for the indicate something is wrong with your data. B, 70% of you going for that option, indicate potential issue and needs reviewed. And 26% of you going for option C, therefore HMRC to verify your VAT return submission. We'll see in just a moment. Question 14. The settings identify an invoice that has not been updated. So when you calculate that VAT return, you've got your VAT verification settings, and those settings, one of them results is that an invoice has not been updated. What should you do? Do you just A, ignore it, sweep it under the carpet? Option B, check it and update it to the ledgers. Or is it C, delete the invoice from the invoices and credits ledger? I might get a bit of a difference here on what should you do and what do you actually do. we'll see. Excellent. Okay, loads of answers coming through again. So nobody went for ignore it, I'm glad to say. But again, I'll reveal the answers in a moment. Everyone went for check it and update it to the ledgers. Now, is that the end of that round? Yes, it is. Right. Okay, let's get stuck into some answers. Make sure I've got the right screen shared again. There we go. So the two questions on VAT verification. So VAT verification settings, what are they for? Well, basically they indicate something is potentially wrong and needs reviewed. Doesn't necessarily mean it is wrong. So it's just indicating something is potentially wrong. So for instance, a transaction not using your most commonly used tax code. Now we always get feedback on that particular setting saying, well, you know, I always enter a range of T0, T1, T2 transactions. So you can only specify one tax code in that area. So Basically, it indicates something is potentially wrong. You just need to maybe check it just to see if it's right or not. If anyone is using Sage Copilot in Sage 50, there's this very similar option for anomaly detection. So when you go into transactions and click the Copilot Insights option, it will also in there, there's an option which will check things like values, nominal codes, tax codes, and based on your historic data, it will try and identify and point out potential queries for you. So it's another area where we're trying to identify things for you, just to prompt you and again raise your awareness of them. And ideally, if it is a mistake that you've made, you can correct it before you get as far as generating the VAT return. So correct answer for that one is option B. They aren't for HMRC. The verification settings, nothing to do with that, the HMRC at all. It doesn't submit the results or anything when you submit online. So option B is the right answer. Right, let's crack on with round 5. So round 5 was all about running reports. So question 15. So what's the simplest way to see how a value on your VAT return calculates? Is it A, use the drill down, B, use the VAT return detailed report, or C, use the daybooks reports? Which is the simplest way? So A, B, or C? Excellent, loads of you answering that one as well. Right, share the results with you as well. So 72% if you're going for option A, use the drill down, 20% going for option B, use the VAT return detailed report, and 8% of you going for option C, use the daybooks reports. All valid options to a certain extent, but what's the simplest way? We'll come back to that one in a minute. Right, question 16. In step 2 of the VAT return wizard, when generating VAT reports, why might a report be grayed out? So why might it not be available to you? So it's listed, but it's grayed out. You can't run it. So why might it be grayed out? So is it the user doesn't have access to the report? The report isn't applicable to your specific VAT scheme? Or is it option C, no transactions for that report are included in your return? It's a shame you can't see the live voting coming through. I get a bit of a graph at my end so you can see sort of as people start submitting their answers, I can see what the results are going like. And sometimes you sit there and think, oh, did I not present that one very well, or did I not mention that in enough detail, or did I not emphasize it enough? So a bit of a divide on this one. Right, share the results with you again. So 40% is going for option A, the user does not have access to the reports. 21% going for option B, the report isn't applicable to your specific VAT scheme. And 64% of you going for option C, no transactions for that report are included. Question 17. What might cause a transaction to appear on your VAT return, so to be included in the VAT return calculation, but not be included on the relevant daybooks report? Now, this is one of the scenarios we covered in that report session. So what might cause a transaction to be included on your VAT return, but not be included on the relevant daybooks report? Is it A, the tax code, B, the transaction date, or C, it's already VAT reconciled? So A, B, or C? Again, I wish you could see the answers coming through. We always start off and I think, great, everyone's going for the same answer here. And then all of a sudden, you get quite a few answers come in. Maybe people having a bit thinking about it, or maybe overthinking it possibly. Or possibly the early answers underthinking it. So it's quite interesting to see the answers actually come through. I'll share those with you again. So 18% of you going for tax code, 68% going for the transaction date, and 14% going for option C, where the transaction is already VAT reconciled. Right, back to the slides. We'll pick up on some of the answers. Right, so question 15. What's the simplest way to see how a value on your VAT return calculates? Again, it's use that drill down. Can't say that one enough. Drill down is certainly when I worked on tech support, it was your best friend. We get loads of questions ringing up, loads of customers, ringing up saying, that figure on my VAT return, it's not what I expected. It's too high, too low, or maybe just people want to understand more about that VAT return. Where does that figure come from? How is it made up? Which transactions contribute to it? And simply clicking on the drill down option to display that table. And remember, you can go to that secondary level as well. If you spot a value on the table and you're thinking, well, credit notes, it's T1, a bit higher than what I was expecting, you can double click on it to see that transaction breakdown of that specific value. So use the drill down. It resolves a lot of the support queries that we get, almost like just pointing people in the right direction to help jog their memory. Let's face it, I can hardly remember what happened last week, never mind what happened sort of 3 months ago at the beginning of the VAT quarter. So use that drill down. So question 16, in step 2 of the VAT return wizard, when generating VAT reports, why might a report be grayed out? So answer to that one is option C, no transactions for that report are included in the return. Let me just show you what we mean by that. Let's quickly share my screen. So it's on step 2. So where you've calculated, takes you on to step 2, you've got the print VAT return option. So you've got your various reports available. You can see the adjustments is grayed out, and that's because we haven't made any adjustments. So if I'd gone in to make adjustments and there was something in there, that would be available to me. The earlier unreconciled transactions, that one is available, and that's because there were 3 transactions. When I calculated the return, it said, you've got some earlier unreconciled, do you want to include them or not? Because I chose to include them, this one is available to me. If I hadn't chosen to include them, that one would be grayed out as well. So nothing to do with access levels, nothing to do with a particular report not being applicable to your VAT scheme. It's simply that there isn't anything relating to that report included on your return itself. Right, back to the slides. Question 17. What might cause a transaction to appear on your VAT return but not be included on the relevant daybooks report? See if I can find the actual question for that one. No, sorry, I'm one step ahead of myself there. So what might cause a transaction to appear on your VAT return? So a transaction is included, but it's not included on the relevant day books report. And the answer to that one is the transaction date. So the day books report, it will show you the tax code, it will show you the transaction date, and it will show you also the VAT reconciliation status. So it includes all three parts of that information. But the only one you can filter on the day books report is the date range. So that's the correct answer, it's transaction date. It will still include it whether it's reconciled or not, still include it irrespective of which tax code is being used. But if it falls outside of the date range, it won't show on that day books report. It's one of those that catches a lot of people out. So again, if you got option B, give yourself a point. Right, going on to corrections or final three questions. So question 18. What happens if you delete a VAT reconciled sales invoice? So is it A, you can't? Is it B, the invoice deletes, that's it? Or is it C, a credit is posted to reverse the invoice? So again, something we covered on, or something I covered with you on Wednesday when we're running through the corrections. So what happens if you delete a VAT reconciled sales invoice? Again, if you want to check these as well. So after the webinar, if you think, well, actually, these corrections, I still don't quite get it. Have a bit play around with that. You can use the demonstration data, you can use the practice data. You don't have to play on your live company. And these days as well, you can actually restore a backup of your data into the practice company and play around with it so it's data that you are familiar with. Right, let's share those answers with you, or sorry, what you've chosen. So 90% of you saying you can't, 8% of you going for the invoice just deletes, that's it, and 73% of you going for a credit is posted to reverse the invoice. Excellent. Question 19. Which of these is a non-critical transaction field? So is it A, the tax code, B, the date, C, the reference, or D, the net amount? Again, if you attended that session on Wednesday, or maybe you attended the session in June, or maybe you just know this from previous webinars where we've run on corrections, the differences between a critical and a non-critical. So which is classed as a non-critical transaction field? Great, loads of you have answered that one. Share the results. Everyone's gone for the reference field. So we'll just plow straight on into question 20. So question 20, if a reversing transaction is posted, when will it be included on your VAT return? So is it A, it won't? Is it B, it will automatically adjust the original VAT return? Or is it C, you should include it as a late entry in the next return? So A, B, or C? Great, okay. So I'll just quickly share what everyone's voted for. 7%, not sure where I got that from. 5% of you went for option A, it won't. 5% if you're going for option B, it will automatically adjust the original return, and 90% if you're going for option C, you should include it as a late entry in the next return. Let's quickly whiz through those answers to that final round. So question 18, what happens if you delete a VAT reconciled sales invoice? Key there is it's VAT reconciled. So it means it's VATable, it's being accounted for on a VAT return. So the key is, or the answer to that one is, a credit note is posted to reverse the invoice. So remember the difference in the wording as well. When you click delete and you'll then confirm to say yes, that message, it'll actually say, are you sure you want to delete it? But if it is VAT reconciled, rather than it saying delete, it will need to change that to saying, are you sure you wish to reverse this transaction? It can't just delete it because it needs to post an adjustment for you. So the answer is a credit is posted to reverse the invoice. Oh, just jump past that answer there. So question 19, which of these is a non-critical transaction field? I think everyone got this one. It is the reference field. Remember, the non-critical fields are generally the text-based fields. So you can go in and it means you can update if it's a typo in the description or the reference is wrong, extra reference, details, description. All of those are just text-based fields classed as non-critical. So you can go in, just amend those, save your changes. Doesn't matter whether it's transactions paid or whether it's VAT reconciled or not, it will let you save those changes. So answer C. Final question, if a reversing transaction is posted, when will it be included on your VAT return? Answer C, you should include it as a late entry in the next return. So the fact it's a reversing transaction, it means it's as a result of a transaction that has previously been VAT reconciled. So it'll reverse it, it'll use the same date as the original transaction, the same as the other details as well, same nominal code, values, etc., tax codes. And when you next run your VAT return, as well as looking for transactions in the VAT period, it will look for older transactions as well, and that would include your reversing transaction. So remember, it's probably one of the most common things as a late entry because of corrections, either deleting them or amending them. So option C is the right answer for that. Now we've got one final special round for you, and it's an anagram. So probably everyone's favourite part of the quiz. So solve the anagram, submit your answer in the questions panel once you've worked this out. So the anagram is overfed Bing capacity. So I've put a clue on this time because I thought this was quite tricky. So the clue is it's not quite Olympic gold, but close. Overfed Bing capacity. What could that be an anagram of? So if you work it out, submit your answer via the questions panel. I'll do first, second, third today if anyone works it out. So pop it in there. I think probably this is the most difficult one we've had so far. We try to change it every time we run this. Obviously, it relates to what we've been running these webinars over the last few weeks. So overfed Bing capacity. What on earth could that relate to? What is it an anagram of? So again, your clue, not quite Olympic gold, but close. Barry, you're stumped. Yeah. Okay. It's normally Matt's favourite part of the quiz as well, this one. He loves an anagram. Anyone? Any takers? I'll give you another 20 seconds or so. Just while if anyone's thinking, if anyone wants to pop in their score as well, so let me know how you got on today. So did you do? I thought you're absolutely useless. Maybe you thought you were going to be useless, but actually you've got a much better score than you thought. So let me know. Maybe you've helped identify your knowledge gaps. Oh, Tracy, you're in there. Excellent. So Tracy's first with the correct answer of the anagram. We'll say give yourself an extra point there, Tracy. Go on. Anyone else? Or is Tracy just going to be on the podium by herself today? Right. Fran, you got 22. Excellent. Can't believe it. Yeah, it's sometimes surprising that you think, well, I've attended the webinars, I haven't taken much in, but sometimes you'll take in a lot more than you think. Other times you might go away thinking, well, actually, I think I knew all of that, and you come along to the quiz and think, actually, I'm not sure. It puts that little doubt in your mind. Right, let's reveal the anagram then to put you out of your misery, or should I say, if you come along to the webinar next week, I'll reveal it. No, I'll tell you what that is now. It's, again, the clue, almost an Olympic gold, but not quite. It is the VAT Proficiency badge. So I think it was only Tracy that got that today. But as I say, I think it's been the most difficult one so far. So well done, Tracy. So yes, Jai, you're mentioning that everyone's second place by default. No points for the first place runner-up though today. Right, okay, so brings us towards the end of the session. If you've got any final questions, pop them in there. There is no handout today. That's just a mistake on the slide. It would just be a copy of the slide, the questions themselves. The recording will be included on the follow-up email. So if anything you weren't sure of, you can have a look through that. Remember, loads of great resources available via our help centre. It is region specific as well. So if you go to sage.co.uk/help, choose the Sage 50 Accounts desktop option. It'll bring up a screen similar to what you can see on the slide there. So go into manage your VAT, and that's where it goes region specific. So you can choose Great Britain and Northern Ireland or Republic of Ireland, and it'll try and guide you to the relevant support information that you're after. If you can't find what you're after though, remember our support team is on hand. Right, brings me to the end of today's session then. Many thanks for coming along. Apologies for the slight overrun. I'm probably biting into some of your lunch hours or lunch half hours, depending on your industry and what hours you work on a Friday. So enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend, and hope to see you on some of the webinars next week. Remember to complete the survey if you could do that just as you leave. Always appreciated. Any comments, thoughts? Did you like the quiz? Did you not? Anything we could do to change the format that you would like to see? Let us know. Follow-up email will be with you in round about an hour's time. Okay, have a great weekend, and hopefully I'll see you next week.